So this is Holborn, and it's called Holborn because in Old English, about 1,000 years ago, hol referred to hollow, which meant a kind of valley, and burn was a stream. So it was referring to the kind of valley in which the old river Fleet used to run along, where Holborn Viaduct is. Don't let anybody tell you that it's Holborn, because it's clearly Holborn, as in hole, and he wore hole, as in holes. Not to be confused with Sheerbourne Lane, which is over in the city of London. And that's a remnant from the old days when it was actually called Shiteburn Lane, because there was loads of cesspits there. And obviously the puritanical people during the Reformation decided they didn't want names like Shiteburn on their street sides, so they had to change it to Sheerbourne. But that street still exists, and there are some other even ruder ones, but I'm not going to tell you what those are, in case children are watching. Oh, by the way, you see this thing over here? This is where the trams used to come down. Yeah, there used to be trams up until about the 1950s. You can actually still see the tram stations over in the middle of the road over here. Over here right in the middle of the street, where it is very embarrassing and everyone is looking at us, is you can actually see the entrance to the old tram stations. There's stairs going down, and this is where you would have gone down to take your tram, which could have got you from Islington to Waterloo in 10 minutes. Fat chance these days. So now on the, what's that? Is that the south side? South side? Anyway, on that side of Lincoln's Inn Fields is the Royal College of Surgeons, and next to it is one of my favourite weird museums in London, which is the Hunterian Museum. And basically John Hunter was, I think he was a doctor in the army, and he was a pioneer of treating gunshot wounds and VD. So if you go inside here, they've got all sorts of really weird stuff, like bones of people with syphilis and sort of the elephant man's skull and things like that.
He put bones down his blackbird rabbit foot. Bones down his blackbird rabbit foot. Oh, all his spells. One little crook, he put a hook in me. Dead cat's tails and viper's venom and nails with...
Inside is the skeleton of an Irish giant called Charles Dickens, and it's really sad because he was quite famous in, I think, in the 1800s, and when he fell really ill, John Hunter kept lurking around his deathbed, and he was like, oh no, I definitely don't want to end up in his weird museum of fascinating freaks. So he paid a fisherman to conceal him in an iron box and then bury him at sea. But unfortunately, the crafty old John Hunter paid the fisherman even more. I think he paid him £500 to go and fish him out and donate him to the museum. Then they boiled his corpse in a giant vat and preserved, so they've got his skeleton there in the museum, and it's really sad. I feel a bit sorry for him. He didn't want to be stuck in the museum. How would you like it if someone boiled your bones?
Sleep will banish sorrow. Good night, sweetheart.
Legend has it that this is the shop on which Charles Dickens based his story, the old curiosity shop, but I don't think that's really the case. It is pretty old though. It's about 500 years old, and all the wood is made out from an old ship timbers and stuff like that. It's a pity it's all closed. Well, there is some stuff in there. I mean, it's a kind of shoe boutique these days. I like this house over here because this used to be where Nell Gwynn lived, who was the mistress of King Charles II. Now, she was an actress and she worked in Covent Garden, and one day she was on her way back from Covent Garden coming to her house here, and her coach was besieged by an angry mob, and they were all shouting abuse at her because they thought that she was King Charles's French mistress, who was of course a Catholic, so they didn't like Catholics at the time. So she leant out of her window and she said to them, "Pray thee, good people, be civil, I am the Protestant whore." So they knew that she was the other mistress, not the Catholic one. Yeah. Do you get it? Do you understand that?
I get it.
Yeah, okay, right, good. I finally got out that incredibly boring story. It will actually be interesting when I do it. Another thing that happened in this house, King Charles was around there once, and his illegitimate son was playing with Nell Gwynn and running around. He scuttled off, and Nell Gwynn shouted to her son, "Oh, "Come here, you little bastard." And the king said, "Well, why'd you call him that name?" And she said, "Well, you haven't given him a proper title, so that's the only thing I can call him." So after that, he had to make him into the Duke of St Albans, a title which still exists today for his family.
Let's all go down the Strand. Let's all go down the Strand. I'll be
So this is Lincoln's Inn Fields. Now, when you become a lawyer in Britain, you get put into one of these lawyers' inns. It's a bit like in Harry Potter, where the magic hat chooses which house you're going to be in. You're either going to be in Gray's Inn, Temple Inn, is it Middle Temple, or Lincoln's Inn. And this is one of them. And this is actually the oldest one, I think. It's from like 15th century. A few famous people went there as well, actually. It's John Donne, he who said, "Never send to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." He went there. And Tony Blair, Maggie Thatcher, William Pitt the Younger, Pitt the even younger, Pitt the embryo, Pitt the glint in the milkman's eye. I think they're shooting some BBC drama in there or something at the moment. Yeah, so if you look on top of the building, they've got these several chimneys, and in the old days it was regarded as a sign of great wealth and prosperity if you had more than one chimney, because it showed that you were able to heat more than one room. We only had one chimney in my house. How many chimneys did you have, Gav?
No idea.
You know, you just totally are not able to. It's hilarious. As soon as that camera goes off, you're hilarious. As soon as it's on, you just cannot say a word. It's just, I know how to keep you quiet now. Anyway, so lawyers, they're a bit like clergymen. They like settling themselves in cloisters and places with courtyards in the middle, which is why they've got this beautiful garden in the middle here. This garden is very boringly, as if you cared, exactly the same dimensions as the Great Pyramid at Giza. Exactly, I know. You've got this look on your face that's just like...
I'm just concentrating.
Come with me and see what we can find. Let's all go down the Strand.
Cue me getting splattered by a car. That's the Sir John Soane Museum. He was a son of a bricklayer, and he really became one of Britain's best-known architects. I think he designed the Bank of England, actually. But anyway, he became a really eccentric collector. And after his wife died, he just lived amongst all these weird kind of old sarcophaguses and bones and ancient artifacts and stuff like that. And it's actually a really, really interesting museum, and you should really try and visit it if you can. I tried, but they confiscated my camera and my phone and everything. It's like trying to get into Fort Knox over there. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's hard to part, I know. I'd be tickled to death to go.
Now, just tucked away behind Holborn Station in this funny little alleyway over here is one of my favourite bars. And if you're into drinking lots of vodka, like I'm sure you are, then this is the place to come. Anything you can recommend?
Mad Bitch.
Mad Bitch.
Yes, that's vodka, gingerbread liquor, and Tabasco. Best in the world.
They have 50 different types of vodka in here. Semi-sweet ripe pear vodka, horseradish, sweet plum vodka, marzipan infused with aniseed and spices. Call me picky, but I think I'm going to have a Zwierz. 1 pint of that. Special guest appearance today from my friend Gavin.
You can film you ordering the food.
Yes, I am. I haven't paid him to do it. This is what he always has. He has it every time. And I always have the same thing as well. I always have bigos, which is the hunter's stew. Are they the ones they're called pierogi?
Yes, pierogi, and then they have the potato pancake things as well that come like 100 on a plate sort of thing. Definitely good for sharing. Fantastic. It's cheap, it's good, it's lovely.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's all right. I like the look of that. So on the wall, this is traditional Polish folk art, which is originally that kind of cutout thing, paper cutout. Shall I film you putting in your PIN number and then put it onto the internet?
And then they too can see how little money is
Na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie.
Now, if you've enjoyed my video, or if indeed anybody cares about anything I have to say or do ever, then please subscribe to my channel. It'll make me feel good, and it's totally free. Cheers.